Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. Of course, a couple days ago we had the massive update introducing the new revamped tutorial from version Z. The version Z LR Goku received an Easy A, and we got all new tutorial free-to-play units to go with him. So we're going to be testing them out all in one singular video. I have the team pretty much exactly how it's supposed to be intended, which is the full free-to-play team. We have the version Z Easy A LR Goku as the lead, who we've already tried out separately. And then I've also brought Yamcha along, who is a 200% lead for the rest of them. Aside from Gohan and Piccolo, I did want to use the Dokkan Fest Gohan and Piccolo, but I couldn't find one. Now, how much I tried, no matter how much I restarted the game, refresh the friend system, I could not find one. So the only unit who isn't under Yamcha's 200% lead is Gohan and Piccolo. But we should be fine. As I said, we're using the team the exact way it was intended. And on the first rotation, we have Tien and Chiaotzu. So their starter turn numbers: Tien has 263k attack stat, 119k defense. Chiaotzu has 186k attack stat, 81k defense. On super attack, Chiaotzu is going to greatly raise attack defense by 50% for one turn, cause supreme damage to the enemy, and have a 50% chance to stun. Starts the turn with attack and defense plus 140%. Do you know, I'm going to pop his active seal just because why not? And then has a 70% chance to dodge as the third attacker in a turn, so that's always where you want him sitting. He'll randomly change key spheres of a certain type to fizz key spheres, and randomly change key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres once only. And all allies attack and defense plus 40% when there is another bond of friendship category ally attacking the same turn, which I'm pretty sure Tien is, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so he's automatically got that, so he is actually supporting everyone else on the rotation right now, which is very nice. And as I said, you always want to have him in slot 3 because he's an orb changer. He's also a rainbow orb changer, which he'll do once, but mainly because he's an orb changer. He supports and has a 70% chance to dodge as long as he's in slot 3. So that's always where we want Chiaotzu. Now, in terms of what Tien does, on super attack, he'll greatly raise defense by 50% and greatly raise attack by 50% for one turn. Starts the turn with attack and defense plus 150, then gains an additional attack plus 200% and defense plus 100% on super, and then gain an additional attack and defense plus 100% and performs a guaranteed crit when there's another bond of friendship category ally in the same turn, which we do have with Chiaotzu, and I also think with Yamcha as well. But we do have that with Chiaotzu next to him. 7.6 is actually pretty solid for a free-to-play unit. Big crit as well. 3.4 from Chiaotzu, but I mean, he's not really here to deal damage. He's here to support and dodge. That's pretty much Chiaotzu's job. But that wasn't too bad at all. Especially because he's only under one 200% lead. Because what's Goku's lead? Is it 150? I mean, it's 130 or all types 70%. Yeah, so actually even less. Goku's given everyone HP attack and defense plus 130%, and Yamcha's given him 200%. So to still do a 7.6 million attack stat is pretty decent. And then to round out his passive, he does gain an additional attack plus 30% and reduces damage received by 7% per rainbow key sphere obtained, which is why when another Chiaotzu pops up on the rotation in slot 3, that's going to help him out with the orb changing as well to get the extra damage reduction. But the next two units we have is the Krillin and the Gohan and Piccolo. Krillin has a 229k attack stat and 112k defense. Gohan and Piccolo have 405k attack stat. Those are actually some pretty nice starter turn numbers. And 213k defense. These two also stack attack and defense by 20%. They do steal as well, not that we can take advantage of that here. But they do infinitely stack. It's only by 20%, so it won't stack up too fast. But they do stack. So they start the turn with key plus 2. Literally just key plus 2 and get attack and defense plus 30% per Saiyan Saga or Earthbred fighter on a team, which is naturally easy to do because wherever you run these guys, it's always going to be on this free-to-play team. Like, they're literally built to be on this free-to-play tutorial team with the Easy A version ZLR Goku. So no matter what, you're going to get that full 30% attack and defense buff per ally. They then gain an extra additional attack and defense plus 150 on super. And in terms of numbers, we're starting on 7.16. Again, very, very solid. Like, don't forget, they're on a 130 lead and a 200% lead. So that's decent. And they infinitely stack. So that's only going to get stronger and stronger. Krillin on a 5.3 is not bad either. They also have a 30% chance to crit. Then gain an additional attack and defense plus 50% and launch an additional attack. There's a 70% chance of becoming a super attack when all allies are super class, which again is naturally just going to happen because the team you are typically going to be running all of these units on, but specifically the Gohan and Piccolo, is this free-to-play Saiyan Saga team here. And then they also reduce damage received by 20% when there's an ally whose name includes Goku on the team, which naturally again you're going to do because you're going to run the Easy A version Z LR Goku leading this team. And I can't lie, Gohan and Piccolo is probably one of the better units out of everyone here, just because you can get 20% damage reduction, infinitely stack, and they have good starter turn numbers as well. But now we have Yamcha. We do still need to go over Krillin, but I'll come back to him, bless him. In terms of Yamcha, he will greatly raise attack and defense by 50% for one turn. Start the turn with key +1 and attack and defense plus 180%, then gain another 180% attack and defense on super. To launch an additional attack, there's a 70% chance of becoming a super. Launch an additional super attack again as long as he's in slot 2 or slot 3. And then have damage reduction by 70%, which is amazing by the way. Within the same turn, but he'll only do this once. And perform a guaranteed crit when HP is 50% or less. So while he does get a ton of damage reduction, which I said is really good, he only has it once. So I think we're going to leave Yamcha in slot 3 just because we do have the Dokkan Fest Yamcha there. Got Tien 2 Rainbow Key Spheres. It's not a lot, but it's still 14% damage reduction nonetheless. Now, I'm not expecting too much from this team in an event like this because we are in Supreme Magnificent Battle. We are against God Goku. Now, for the majority of units in the game that are summonable, this stage is now pretty easy for them. But this is a tutorial team. This is a free-to-play team that everyone can get for free just by playing the tutorial. So I'm not expecting them to last too long being in this event. But if I'm seeing somewhat signs of seeing them being competable, then Dokkan has done another amazing job of making these very, very good free-to-play units that can easily carry you through probably the majority of content in the entire game if you're a brand new player. So that way you can save up your stones, you can summon for the Dokkan Fest you want, or essentially the top Dokkan Fest, which is essentially what free-to-play players should be doing. But you have this free-to-play team where you won't have to spend no money, you just have to grind the game, get rewards along the way, whether that's stones to summon with, Hercule statues, etc, etc. And you'll have a very, very good free-to-play team that is essentially going to carry you through, by the looks of things, the majority of content that newer players are going to end up doing. It won't take you all the way, don't get me wrong. Like, I doubt they're going to do very well against, say, Supreme Magnificent Battle Go Frieza, like the top fights in the game that we test the premium top units out against. But, as I said, for what this team is made for, it's doing a very good job in some of the hardest content in the game for the level that it's at. And that just shows how much of a good job Dokkan has done with these free-to-play units recently, especially when it comes to free-to-play Easy A's from Bio Broly to Super Easy A, Prime Battle LR Goku, and then this team right here from the tutorial. Let's not forget, this is one of the hardest events in the game. But for this full free-to-play team, they shouldn't be in this holding their own right now. We should probably be close to being dead. We don't even have 500k HP. We have just over 300k. I say just over, just under 400k, sorry. And they're more than holding their own. Let's not forget as well, those two are still stacking. Oh, okay, we generally might take some damage here. They do have type disadvantage. I mean, they do have damage reduction because of Goku. And he took 33 damage. Like, I understand this isn't the most difficult stage from this event, but for these caliber of units, this should still pose a challenge, and I'm watching a free-to-play unit with type disadvantage take 33 damage from it. As I said, this just shows how well done these units are and how much kind of respect and how good Dokkan are making free-to-play units. We went through a period where free-to-play units were actually pretty good and had contentions to be on your team. Then we went for a phase for like 2 to 3 years where free-to-play units were dumb, like they were trash, like they were bum cheeks. And now we're going back to a point where they're actually quite usable again. And again, let's not forget, this is under 200% lead. Version Z update Goku is rocking a 130 lead for all of these units. We've got Krillin back, so we're now going to go through what he does. On super attack, we'll greatly raise attack and defense by 50% for 1 turn, cause spring damage, and then greatly lower enemies' attack and defense by 30% and have a 50% chance to stun. Starts with attack and defense plus 150, has a 50% chance to dodge, then gains an additional attack and defense plus 150 as well. I'm actually going to let Tien go in slot 1. Just because he has type avoid, see how he does. And then Saiyan Saga category allies will gain key plus 1, attack and defense plus 30%, then gain an additional key plus 2 and attack and defense plus 50%, and a chance to evade enemies' attack plus 20% when the target enemy is in attack down or defense down status. Now, naturally, where you're going to be using these guys, you're going to be able to debuff them. To be fair, in some of the difficult content, we've been able to debuff in some of the phases more often than not recently. Do you know what? 118k really isn't that bad. We didn't get him that many key spheres. I know he's got type advantage, but again, this is a free-to-play unit in some of the hardest content in the game. I know that's a big portion of our HP because we don't have that much. But to see a free-to-play unit tank that so well, as I said, Dokkan has done a very, very good job with these free-to-play units. Very, very good job. But as I was saying with Krillin, in the events you're usually going to be using them in, you're probably going to be able to debuff a lot more of the time. So getting that extra 20% damage reduction, 20% dodge chance, and the extra key in attack and defense, going to be very easy to do, which is very nice, because then you can take them up to a 70% chance to dodge, which is very good. And then on top of that, all allies will get key plus 1, attack and defense plus 30%, and a chance to perform a crit plus 10% when there's an ally whose name includes Kid Gohan on the team, which again is naturally just going to happen because you're meant to run this team at its complete form, with everyone from the tutorial on one team, which of course the Kid Gohan and Piccolo unit is. So that means his support's even better because again, since you're going to run all of these units together and they fall under the umbrella of Saiyan Saga and of course all allies, that means Krillin's providing key plus 2, attack and defense plus 60% and 10% crit chance to everyone else, as long as you have a Kid Gohan on the team, which as I said, naturally when making this team, he's going to be on there. So another thing they've done is not only make these free-to-play units very good and very usable, but they've also just made them essentially kind of a complete team. They've made it a very good, cohesive, very good, thought-out, well-put-together team. And again, right now, we're watching these free-to-play units compete in one of the hardest events in the game. It might not be the hardest stage, but, you know, as free-to-play units, their ceiling is only going to go so high. There's only so far we can take them because of 2.5 million plus attack stats that are coming out as normal nowadays. So the fact they're even competing at all in one of the hardest events in the game shows how good and how much respect Dokkan has given these units. And I just have to say, fair play, like, well done. Because they are doing very, very well. Very well. And I'm actually a big, big fan. Like, I'm not going to lie. It really makes me kind of want to do like a mini series or even just something I do on stream where I start a brand new Dokkan account, play through the tutorial, get this team, Easy A everyone, or Easy A Goku, get the rest of the units, have them fully maxed out, have them fully rainbowed, and see how far this new free-to-play tutorial team can take me in the game until I'm like, okay, now I need to summon, now I need these top tier units. because they are generally that good. As I said, they're competing in an event they have no right competing in right now. I don't know what thought went behind these, but I don't think it was to be able to compete in Supreme Magnificent Battle, do you? And they're more than holding their own. Piccolo and Gohan are still stacking. You know, they're up to 796k attacks, that 447k defense. They're still going. And as long as we have them next to a Goku, they have a bit of extra damage reduction. But as I said, it really makes me want to start a mini series where I just see how far I can get as a brand new player on a brand new account, where this team can get us to. Now we're taking some damage, but we're still alive. We're still holding our own. Honestly, fair play. Fair play. Dokkan, you have done an amazing job with these free-to-play units. And if you're ever thinking about getting into Dokkan, or, you know, you're a returning player and maybe you're thinking about starting again for whatever reason, now's the time to do so. You have so much resources and so much at your disposal that you can make a very good team that, as I said, looks like it can compete in probably majority of content in the game that you could completely get for free. Which means you can store up your resources, you can store up your stones until there's something you want to summon on, or wait for a worldwide, wait for an anniversary. It's going to carry you through quest mode, it's going to carry you through DB story, going to carry you through all the story events, any content where you need free-to-play units. This team is going to be able to carry you through that. And anywhere else you can take it into in challenging content-wise until you get to the hardest. Like, don't get me wrong, it's taken us a bit longer to do because we don't have the stats to completely knock down Goku's health bar. But I haven't even used an item yet. I'm on turn 9. Some of these units stack, which means they're only going to get stronger. So if I just had the sheer will to just carry on until we win, we could probably do it. And while using items. But honestly, fair play to Dokkan. They have done a very, very good job with this free-to-play team. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, have a great day, and peace.